Hey guys, it's Ann Yorks from the Flower Box, and today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful wreath out of cookies. This is the perfect platter to bring to a party. Let me show you how to make the cookies. I'll show you how to stylize it, what size platter to use, and I'll give you some tips on this cute little stencil that I'm using with the bow. Let's cookie it up. I'm using royal icing to decorate these cookies, and I've prepared the icing in two icing consistencies. The piping consistency so that I can outline each of the holly leaves, and a flooding consistency so that I can fill in those icing areas and create that large, smooth, flat surface for details. I'm using leaf green piping icing in two shades. I have a light and a dark shade. I just think that makes the wreath look really dynamic when all of the cookies are put together. I used Christmas red for the berries, and I'm just outlining each of those berries, those three sections. Once I complete all my outlines, I'm ready to flood in. I prefer to use tip number 2 on my icing bags to get a nice tall outline to hold back the flood. The flooding icing is 10 seconds, and I'm just going to fill in nice and generously. It really does save some time so that I don't have to pick up and put down my tools every time I flood a cookie, but I also like the nice full finish I get when that icing is dry. I do allow that icing to dry for 30 minutes to an hour in front of a fan. That really speeds up the drying, and it also leaves behind a really nice shine on the surface of the cookies. Now the berries have 3 icing sections, so I will flood one of those sections and let it dry just to create the dynamics and the definition between those icing areas. Now I've prepped all these cookies ahead of time to show you how to add these details and build the wreath. One of the things that I thought really made my wreath special is the sanding sugar adds such a fun sparkle. So I'm adding red and green sanding sugar to the berries and to some of the leaves. The key is to just do that while that icing is still wet. So I'm just going to flood in that berry, and then I can just cover that icing area while it's wet with that sanding sugar. I have a coffee filter underneath the cookie that's just catching all the extra, and I can funnel that back into my container when I'm all done decorating. But I love the pop of color, the texture, and the sparkle that the sanding sugar adds to the wreath. Now you can find this sanding sugar, the wreath cookie cutters, the stencil, and some piping bags. This is in our new wreath kit on flowerbox.com. I love this sanding sugar because you can just twist the lid and get to the next color. I do like to keep a piece of tape over that opening just to keep the sugar in place and prevent it from moving to the next cell over. Let's take a look at this bow. I'm using the new scattered gingerbread stencil to add a fun little pattern. You could also do a plaid, but since we're putting mini gingerbread on our wreath, I thought it would be fun to do a gingerbread stencil. I mixed a little bit of pearl with a dot of brown airbrush color in my airbrush unit, and I'm just going to spray evenly over that bow. A nice even application. I love that light brown color from the pearl and the brown mixture, and that creates such a beautiful background. Now, if you're wondering what icing colors I use, check out the blog post on flowerbox.com. You can find a list of the colors, but this pink bow was created actually using just a small little dot of red icing added to white icing. I tried to keep the color palette super simple, just using the brown, the red, and the green gels so that I didn't overcomplicate my color plan. I'm adding an outline to the different areas of the bow just to clean that up and help to finish off that beautiful cookie. Now it's time for some really simple details on the holly leaves, the gingerbread, and these details do not take long. I'm just using the alternating green on the holly leaves. And on the gingerbread, I'm just adding some really basic features, a smile using tip number 1.5, some eyes. I'm going to add some icing wiggles and a couple of buttons just to keep this super duper easy. Now I did size down on my icing bag to 1.5 just to keep those details small since that is a mini cookie. I love that this platter has a mixture of large, medium, and mini-sized cookies, perfect for the party. You have a cookie size to please everyone. That gingerbread is so cute. Now, if you want to level up your bow on your wreath, let me just show you one more idea. These scattered gingerbread really look cute just as they are, but if you want to add some little faces, go ahead and use one of those food markers. This is the Food Doodler Ultra Thin Black Marker. I'm just adding some eyes and a smiley to each of those faces, and then I'll add a couple of buttons as well. This didn't take long, just a couple minutes to add these, and since there's only one bow per wreath, I thought that it was worth the extra time and effort. I love all those little smiling gingerbread. That is so fun. All right, so let's start building our wreath. This wreath, I just start with the larger holly leaves as my base, and then I start filling in that second layer using those mini holly leaves. Once I have all my leaves down, I'm ready to add the berries, the mini gingerbread, and finish it off with a bow. I'm using a 14-inch white platter that I found at Target, and I used a single batch of dough. I needed 5 mini gingerbreads, 1 bow, 4 berries, 14 small holly leaves, and 14 large holly leaves. That was about 1 single batch of dough, and that created everything that I needed to make this beautiful, easy, colorful, and delicious cookie wreath platter. If you're looking to recreate these cookies, find this kit with the wreath cutters, the mini gingerbread, the stencil, and the sanding sugar with a few tipless bags on flowerbox.com. I can't wait to see what you make. Tag me at the Flowerbox Shop. Until next time, happy decorating!